Good afternoon and welcome to the Supernatural Show. This is Roxy and I'm here with Shannon. Daniel's not feeling great today. Say hello, Shannon.
Hello, dearies.
Hello, Governor.
Hello.
Daniel's not feeling great today, so we're going to fill in and talk a little while today. We didn't want to miss the show or have it not come on, so we're tag teaming today. Today, I think Shannon and I are we weren't planning to kind of run the show today. So we're going to go through some of the current rabbit holes we're researching, which will probably be some things you will hear on the Tuesday night and Thursday night shows with Shannon and Roxy. We have big announcements coming this week when Daniel feels up to it. That'll probably be Wednesday or Friday. Not sure, but they're coming. So stay tuned. It's fixing to get interesting here on the Supernatural Show Network, is it not, Shannon?
Oh, yes. Definitely going to be expansive and awesome, filled with lots of information.
Many more voices, many more insights and discernment, and people who have researched a lot of other things that some of us have not gotten so deep into. And yeah, I'm really proud to be a part of this team that we're in. But welcome everybody. Hey Mike, I see you over there in the chat. Let's see. I don't see many in here yet. I was trying to give everybody a minute to come in. So, Shannon, what rabbit
Yes.
holes are you down this week, my lovely?
Well, what I have been revisiting, I should say revisiting, because years ago, after I had gone through all of my visions and with my testimony, I went down rabbit holes trying to understand what was going on with me, why that had happened. And I had stumbled across a lot of things having to do with subliminal messaging, different techniques of hiding things in plain sight. And so I've just been revisiting this rabbit hole again because the technology and everything has risen to such a level since back 12 years ago when I started going down that particular subject matter. It has just
Mm-hmm.
exploded in the techniques and the amount of mind melting things that they put in programming. And, I've just been experimenting with stuff, camera stuff on my phone, trying to film things in media on the television to see how things react, and just found a lot of interesting information. Oh, and
Yeah, I've seen.
what's
Go ahead.
oh, sorry, I was just gonna say I rewatched They Live last night, which I've seen many times, but I actually picked up on some new things that it'll be fun to talk about later. But I just kind of wanted to say I revisited that movie again.
I keep forgetting. I want to get Willie to sit down with me and watch that one because he's very well aware of all the things that we talk about, and he's on the page with us. But of course, I don't know that he's ever seen that movie or the power of it. But he understands the concept behind it very well. But
Let me just say, there's this one scene, right, where they're underground and it kind of in the lair of the aliens I'd like to call demons, but they're seeing that these people have sold out, to work hand in hand with them. And the guy is giving the speech to the sold out humans, and he's like, by 2025, our plans will be complete. And I was like, oh, I never picked up on that date before.
have you listened to the Sammy Hagar song that he
yes,
wrote about
I
2025?
yes, I
Yeah.
did. Mm-hmm.
Well, and he says that in 1964 he was abducted by aliens. And at that time, he was not drinking or doing anything else. He said he was sober. And they gave him this download about what the future was going to look like. And that's where the song comes from. So, you know me, I got interested. I had to go listen to the song. And I'm like, oh, my Lanta.
Oh, my Lanta is great. Yeah, put on the glasses, Enoch 777. one of the most epic fight scenes of all time.
Mm-hmm. Well, my rabbit hole this morning, which was not one that I intended to go down, I hadn't checked Ingersoll Lockwood in a while because they put the pocket watch up a couple of weeks ago or so.
Right?
I've just had a lot going on with the move and everything else. But I go over there the other day and there was a page. Hadn't got back to it to look into it. So I went over there this morning. Hang on, I think I can put it on full screen here, guys. Let's see. Yeah, let's look at this one. There we go. Haha. Check that out. But when you come down to the
Hmm.
bottom right here, we've got this little pocket watch. Well, as I've told everybody before, you have to click and drag to really see what's there. Because if you'll notice, this right here is not there. There's
Yeah, and
lots
then
of
I
things
saw
on the.
the Rip CK.
Yeah, see, that's been there ever since the day after that happened. Just
Hmm.
trying to upsize it a little bit. The RIP CK takes you to one link, which is a MP3 file. It's Charlie's Anthem. The
Hmm.
dots take you to a YouTube video, which is just kind of like Charlie highlights. But the pocket watch, when I looked at it, the best I can tell, it says 11:16 or 11:17. And I had set a
Hmm.
reminder in my phone to pay attention today. Because when you screenshot this, and for anybody that wants to know, you can hit print screen and you can do this with it and just screen capture it. Then once you screen capture it, then you can zoom in on it and, do all kind of neat things and look at a lot closer than you can on these pages because we're only going to let you zoom so far. I don't know. I just thought that said 11, I think it says 11:17, just today's date. So I'm like,
Hmm.
we need to pay attention today and see what happens. This was not a clickable link until maybe a week ago. Well, let's see if I can make this go away. There we go. I don't know if it will or not. And you can't see it on screen. Any of these links that are clickable, you can look at the web address. You can't see it on here, but the web address says whitehouse.gov/ my safe space Q equals IL Ingersoll Lockwood 1717-4-10-20 DJT. It doesn't say DJT, but that's what 1420 means. Then it says tip top, tippy top shape. When you click on this link, it now takes us to a page that is hosted on the White House page, and it says My Safe Space, a place for DMs. This is some type of music file. I've not listened to it. It's got links up here to like Trump RX, the White House Wire. But this is what, when I started looking at it earlier, because when I do this, I like to highlight, and anything that lights up, I want to open it, go look at it, make a list, come back, blah, blah, blah. All of these over here work. Then there's the shutdown clock. But this is what got my attention. Right here. The song that is chosen to play is What I've Done by Linkin Park. Linkin Park's lead singer, Chester Bennington, um, supposedly, let me say that, decided to end his life force on this earth, so they said.
So
Yet a
they
few
said.
days prior to this end of life force, he had done an episode for a TV show, and there were pictures taken with him and his wife and a good majority of his 6 children. He's been through some stuff in his life, and Shannon knows more about that situation than I do because I have just gone down that rabbit hole and just started. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I just sent you an interesting collage of photos
yeah, that
on
is
the
very
subject
interesting.
matter.
Wow.
Yeah, you see what I'm saying?
Yeah, they can't, but yeah, I can.
Well, yeah, I sent her a picture of Chester alongside a certain Podesta brother that is associated with the Clintons, and their resemblance is uncanny.
Well,
Because I
and
know, a lot of people know that Barbara Bush was more than likely Crowley's daughter than what,
what they
last
say.
name she's attached to or it is attached to. But this goes very deep, and there are a lot of people in the industry that you see in different departments that are related, and that is a there is no doubt there is relation when you see those pictures.
Yeah, that's kind of obvious with those pictures. I'll have to get those together because this may very well be the tomorrow night topic because now I have gone and connected all the other bands that Chester was associated with, and one of the main names that come up was Leto.
Yeah.
And he happens to own an Air Force base in an island called Mars Island. And there's evidently been some accusations of improper texting with young fans. And yeah, it's getting deep already, and I'm only like 2 hours into this.
There is a whole mess with Leto, and he admittedly, and all the people involved in this admit that he is a cult leader. He has a cult.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff on Twitter where they put it out there that it was a cult, and I
Yeah,
think I
he's.
looked at one of them, and it was like that Mars Island they have. If you
Mm-hmm,
paid like $6,500, you got a 3-day pass, a tattoo, and some yoga lessons.
mm-hmm.
It's kind of crazy.
Yep. I mean, like I said, no covering it up whatsoever. Super proud of the fact that it's a cult. So, and that property that he owns was associated with people like Jim Morrison of the Doors and other recording artists of the 60s and 70s. And before that, it was a military base.
Let's see. Let's go back over to presentation screen. Oh, come on, computer. Of course, the computer doesn't want to cooperate at the moment.
Of course.
Of course not.
The interesting thing about chess.
Hang on, Shannon. I don't know what it done. It took you out there. Well, did we lose Shannon? No.
Oh,
There you go.
there.
I don't know what happened.
Oh, okay.
Something happened. Anyway.
It's because I was about to say that Chris Cornell, who also had supposedly the same type of fate as Chester, was his godfather. Him, Anthony Bourdain, and Hesh, many other names that are suddenly no longer here, are all involved in trying to be a part of a documentary that was about to expose the things that happen with children. So it's a little ironic to me that every single one of those people I just named off are not with us, unless, of course, they're in Valhalla, which wouldn't surprise me at this moment in time.
Valhalla's got to be getting crowded. I mean,
Right?
it's got to be getting crowded. I don't know if anybody's watching Candace Owens, but she is the number one podcast on earth at the moment because
Wow.
of what she has exposed with all of this. And everybody to begin with was calling her crazy, like she's making too much out of this. And once she started bringing receipts and laying facts out there of who Dude Man's wife was and what she was involved in, I heard somebody say it perfect this morning. Said, I don't know if y'all know anything about Charlie Kirk. I didn't know a great deal until all of this happened, but Said his wife, how he met his wife was she went in for a job interview, and when he died, she got a promotion. Just think about that one.
Mm-hmm.
But she has ties to an orphanage in Romania where children went missing, and Trump beauty pageants, and both parents are involved in stuff over there. You know, them people we don't dare bring up their name that like to drink juice.
So you want to know something really interesting?
Of course, Shannon.
So speaking of the pageants, the Trump pageants, my producer used to work side by side with him in these pageants because him and his friend from Greece owned a bathing suit company that was Greek owned, and he exclusively was hired to, provide bathing suits for all of the contestants for all of the Trump pageants. He had met him a few times, but I just kind of find that kind of weird that my producer, who is not one of them, by the way, he's
Have
not
you
one of
ever
them, but
have you ever heard of the 6 degrees of separation?
yes, I have. I have way too many of those degrees.
Yes, way, way too many, and the world is much smaller than you think they are. Yes,
Yes.
they do, Mike. They have a very shady past. Let's see who's in the chat with us today. Of course, as always, we've got Mike Smith, our super moderator. Mike is our assassin for people who don't want to play nice. We come here for conversation, not confrontation, so don't be mean or ugly. Let's see. We got Snowball. Thank you for joining us today. We got a lot of our regulars are not in here today. We got Enox. I don't see Miss Laura or Miss Carol or any of our regular ladies, but we are on a Monday afternoon, so who knows who's doing what. But all of us have been a little under the weather or extra busy, and I do believe that Candace is controlled opposition, but
Oh, of
they're
course.
throwing an awful lot of receipts on the table, like major receipts. And how was it that he explained it to us Saturday that the whole Google thing had gone down as to why people were getting their channels back? They had proved that they were being. I can't remember exactly how. I don't know if you were in the meeting Saturday when he was explaining it to us, because we've all been wondering so much lately about why the censorship has let up in degree.
Right. See, I missed that part of the meeting, and that's something that's been kind of bothering me a lot lately because I feel like it's a setup, like we're all supposed to feel comfortable with not having to say code words anymore and that we're back and everything's fine, but somehow that's gonna
Backfire.
backfire or something. Like, I just don't trust it.
No, I don't either. And I've been speaking in code so long now that in normal conversation, face to face with people, I'm still talking in code.
Oh, I know. It's so funny. I sometimes listen to our shows, back just to kind of, while we're here, we don't know what we sound like, but I realize I repeat myself a lot or say things and that stuff or factions because I'm trying to figure out how to say things without getting in trouble, and I realize I end up repeating myself a lot. But that's why, guys, sometimes it's just hard because you're trying to think of how to say something and how to present something when you've got this thought that's, at the speed of light in your brain that needs to get out.
Without
And
getting a community
right.
violation.
So that does tend to be a problem sometimes. So I do apologize on my end that I know I do repeat myself or say certain words a lot or maybe not finish a sentence. Is because I'm trying to figure out how to say it and it doesn't always work out that way.
Yeah, I catch myself like you're in the middle of a sentence and you catch yourself and you just like pause for a second. You're like, What is the proper safe word?
Exactly. How do I say this without getting a strike or getting it taken down or whatever?
But the thought and the theory that we actually live in America where we're supposed to have freedom of speech, as long as your speech is not hurting anyone else. I mean, I can understand, hurtful speech, just trying to incite things, but just having a conversation and it gets filtered, or of course they don't say that they, what is it? How is it they put it? They'll come up with some other reason. And this is one of the reasons during my show and a lot during Shannon's, we don't do a whole lot of presentation, because if you happen to do a presentation on Facebook and there's some type of music in the background that's copyrighted, they will strike your video. Even though you weren't trying to play somebody else's music, it doesn't matter. If they hear it in the background and AI picks it up, community violation.
Yeah.
Yes, freedom is an illusion, my friend. Freedom is an illusion. We I'm gonna work on a long-term project, Shannon.
Mm-hmm.
It's and I still have to talk Willie into this. I don't know if you're listening, honey, but here we go. Here's my pitch. I sent him a text. I'm like, you might want to listen to today's show. We're talking about music because he loves music. He's like a music history buff. But
Yeah.
Willie's family has over 100 years farming. They've owned a farm ever since the beginning of the 1900s, which my grandchildren have told me lately that I was old because I was born in the 1900s.
For
Really.
heaven's sake. Mm-hmm.
But Willie and I have had some very interesting conversations. And if Willie didn't work so much, I'd probably have Willie in a hosting chair. I don't know if he'd go for it or not, but I'd love to have him in a hosting chair on the show, or at least interview him one night on the show about farming. May have to pre record it, I don't know. But I never realized how many chemicals they were actually putting in the dirt prior to even dropping those Terminator seeds. And I call them Terminators because they're only good for one round. If you plant a seed, whether it be soybean or grain or whatever, those seeds are modified so that you can only get one growth out of it. Either it won't produce seeds, or the seeds that it does produce won't come to fruition. There are a few products that do, but they are so specific. They can tell that if the crop that you turn in once you've harvested, they can test it and see if it was from this year's seeds or last year's seeds.
Interesting. It's interesting too in the times that I've been, tested out for cancer, even though I
Uh-huh.
never did have it. Thank the Lord Jesus. But the doctor asked me over and over again, did you or your family, and were you involved in agriculture?
Uh-huh.
Because the history of my family, especially on my father's side, all the brothers died of cancer is very early, all of that kind of stuff. And I'm like, I mean, I know that my great grandparents, both of them, had things to do with agriculture and farming, but once my grandparents moved on and got to be adults and had their careers, they went into banking. So I just thought, though, how interesting that that was a problem, that people in agriculture tend to be more hit with cancer and things along those
Mm-hmm.
lines.
Well, and like the big lawsuit about that, the stuff you spray in your yard and the weeds go bye bye.
Mm-hmm.
I'm kind of scared to even say the whole phrase together out loud, but anyway, the settlements on those are scored by exposure and occupation and blah blah blah, so they're aware. But the more I talk with him about, I mean, I grew up in the South. When I was a teenager, I worked, on farms or whatever. It was just kind of a rite of passage as a
Mm-hmm.
teenager here. You worked on a farm, and mostly tobacco. They grow tobacco here a lot, and it's got to do with soil composition. And as we go through it and I talk to him more and more about it, I start asking questions, and I'm like, well, this all started, part of this conversation with Willie the other night was when you and I were talking about thimerosal. And I realized how many chemicals that are related to thimerosal, which is dangerous, very, 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 very dangerous. And they put it in the sticky pokey things, in the actual vial. They actually spray the ground with a derivative of that prior to even planting a seed because they're trying to kill a microscopic parasite called thrips, which will eat at the root of the plant. So before you even put the seed in the ground, you've poisoned the dirt and you planted a seed in it. So when rain falls, said plant is going to take up some of said stuff. And there's many, many different things that they put in fields, in the dirt, different chemicals. And some of them, here comes one of those pauses as I think how to say this. Some of them were used in wars to wipe out jungles, and our boys come back all messed up from it.
Is it the agent
Yeah, it
thing?
would be that one. It's the same color as that Clemson football team that wears orange.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to kill things and, kind of like they inject it into the ground to run off all of the things they don't want eating at the plants. But this still gets absorbed into the grains. Even if we're not talking about
100%.
tobacco, because tobacco is an elected thing. Hey, Dave. Um, it's an elected thing. You know what I mean? It's not part of your nutrition. But when you
Right.
think about grains that you eat and things like that are in the dirt being pulled up in the plant. And I don't want to get too far down this because this is going to be a long term project I'm working on. But there was something else I wanted to bring to mind. The government is back up and operating. Did you by chance pay attention to that paragraph that everybody's talking about in this document that was okay to open, which will completely shut down and decimate the hemp industry?
My client has been bugging me about that a lot and keeps asking if I've heard anything else. I actually haven't heard much about this. Would you be able to explain a little bit more?
Well, the way it works on a federal level, there are states now that allow, okay, there's cannabis and there's hemp. They are sister plants. And the derivative of which is legal and which is not is all based off of the quantity of THC, I think it's A, that is within the plant.
Mm.
Anything that is like zero point 0 or 0.003 or less is considered hemp. 4 and up is considered cannabis, essentially. The farmers, and see, this comes back to the farming thing, and this is why I'm fired up about this because it makes me mad. But anyway, back when farmers farmed tobacco, we'll go through this when I do the big thing, but there were contracts, and then there was government subsidy to make sure that the cost of the product, what farmers were selling it for, would at least equal out to what they paid. This is why you have no farmers now, folks. Farmers are expected to buy seeds, chemical, and labor at retail. They
Mm-hmm.
are then expected to buy the equipment to farm it and harvest it with while they own or lease the land to do it on. Then they have labor, time, and equipment in harvesting it and storing it. And then when they go to sell it, they're expected to sell this product at wholesale. That is the most backwards business design I've ever seen. It just doesn't make good sense to me from an accounting standpoint as to why it would even be set up that way. But you expect somebody to have all of the investment and pay retail and then sell for wholesale. But anyway, a lot of farmers farmed tobacco. A lot of this tobacco back in the day was being shipped overseas to China. Well, what does China do when you give them something or show them how to do it? They're no longer exporting the product, they just grow it themselves. So we showed China how to grow tobacco. Then they stopped exporting. So then you had the reduction in farmers that could actually sell that product or how much of it was needed. And when a lot of these farmers lost that crop, one of the crops they went to was hemp. I'm not talking about hemp to smoke or use in any type of extracurricular way. I'm talking about CBD hemp, the one that does not make you feel any different other than maybe normal. There's no psychoactive anything to hemp. There is zero, absolutely zero from the hemp plant that is wasted, folks. From the root to the stalk to the leaf to the stem. You can make clothes out of it. You can build a house with it. You can use it for medicine. In Chernobyl, hey Cash, in Chernobyl, where we had that accident, the way they have decided to clean up the ground was they planted hemp everywhere because hemp will clean the earth and disperse of radioactive particle. But now you've put a rider to open the government up to shut that down nationwide. That means every product you see in a convenience store or a smoke shop or an ointment or an oil or anything that's CBD will be no more. I mean, that is like a major, major blow to farmers.
Well, and I know there's a lot of people out there who use it to, for anti-inflammation and, as
Joint
it
pain.
goes, yeah, and without feeling like they're high. And it's really important for a lot of people who don't really want to involve themselves in that kind of a feeling.
Well, and see, back when, um, we all know that history's written by the winners.
Mm-hmm.
When you go back to when they started the propaganda against hemp and cannabis, it had nothing to do with what that plant did. The actual White House put out stuff a while back explaining that every human being has a cannabinoid receptor system in them. Your body is naturally built to accept cannabinoids, which is CBD. Back in the early 1900s, when they come out with all of the propaganda and posters and ads, and they called it loco weed, and that's where the name marijuana come from. But the people that were, we all know that one hand shakes another, the other scratches another back. This was about the cotton and the wood industry because they knew that if this plant was farmed everywhere, that it could be detrimental to the cotton industry, the ones that sell your clothes, and the tree industry that sells you lumber and paper and pencils. So they needed the hemp industry to not take off, to not damage their profits. They were more concerned about their profits and bottom line than the health and well being of citizens. Imagine that. Imagine
Imagine
that. Wow, imagine that. That's a unique concept, isn't it, Shannon? That profits are more important
that.
than the health and well being of the citizens on the same continent.
Well, we're all aware that they don't consider citizens human beings. They consider them to be like cattle. So,
Yeah, now see, that circles us right back to the Capri Suns. Maybe that's what we should start saying. It's not close enough to maybe get us flagged.
Capri Suns. I like that. That's a good
Yeah,
one.
it's not even in the relative, phonetic match to get us
Right?
like, well, just phonetically completely stay away from that word or what it does. But
Hmm.
yeah, it's amazing how it all circles back to that one spot. Oh, any other rabbit holes you're down, Shannon?
I am just, like I said, super obsessed with just trying to discover the level of the subliminal and tactics and stuff that is being used, because the more and more things get brought up to me that, of course, our phones, tablets, computers, they all have that area where the camera is, in that area, there is flashing lights going off all the time that your naked eye can't see. And as I mentioned earlier on the show, I've been doing kind of some experimentations of my television set and what things I can find subliminally or whatever with different techniques, trying to, figure out if these phones will capture it. And although the frame rates, as we've talked about in other shows, are so incredibly fast now, it's really difficult to pick up the in between. What I did end up picking up was an in just, I mean, such an intense amount of light flashing and pattern change and black bars moving in weird directions through programs that you watch on the television set. And I also filmed a little bit of They Live last night in the same manner using the action, uh, filter and all that, which focuses on the action of whatever's going on. So instead of slow motion, everything going, whoa, whoa, it's all slow. It just focuses on enhancing the action of the scene. And I noticed that in other programs that are updated and things like now, the flashing and the patterns are so intense. It is like, I mean, epilepsy triggering 100%. But with the naked eye, you can't see it. But I then recorded a segment of our show on my television set. I didn't see any of that behavior. And then I recorded some of They Live. I didn't see any of that behavior, which suggests to me that it is embedded in the program itself that you are watching. And this really hones in on that frequency traumatizing of the brain to take in everything that it is that you're seeing as truth and suppressing it into the subconscious.
Well, Mike Smith made I think it was Mike who made an excellent comment the other day in our group chat
Mm-hmm.
about a TV show called Supernatural.
Right.
I was hooked on Supernatural for years and I didn't know why. I mean, I liked the show, but I watched it over and over and over. It's one of those shows that I can watch it as a rerun and I know I've seen it 13 times. And I
Right.
told Mike, I'm like, well, maybe I should do a decode on it because I mean, I've watched it a lot.
I think that
When
would
I,
be a great idea.
when I go down it and I start making a list, it's like it's laying the truth out in front of us. Like literally. Because the first thing they wanted us to do as a mass of people is to not believe that anything in the Bible was supernatural. That these are just normal people and normal men and nothing
Mm-hmm.
supernatural ever happened. Bull, whatever.
Bull
Yeah.
stuff.
Bull stuff. Yeah. Bull snot. They don't want you to believe in anything supernatural. They've taken all of these amazing supernatural stories, and the one of them, the ones that they couldn't completely dispel, they turned them into fairy tales and mythology about Thor and Asgard and superhero movies. But when I go back and I look at that supernatural show, and it had Dean and Sam on it, which I think this is where the 6 degrees come from me because we're the Supernatural Show Network.
Mm-hmm.
Um, and that show, and as much as I've watched it, no, there are no coincidences. At the very end of Supernatural, when they finally get to like, it's kind of like a video game, you go level by level, beating this monster and that monster. And on the show, if you haven't seen it, two brothers go out and hunt demons, jinns and vampires and werewolves and things of that nature.
Mm-hmm.
But the big monster they're hunting at the end is a thing called a Leviathan.
Hmm.
The Leviathan owned the food industry in this show. Let me show. This is going to explain to you where I'm going to go with this breakout that I'm going to do on this show.
Okay.
The Leviathan in the show Supernatural with Sam and Dean owned the food industry. They come out with this food called turducken. It was turkey, duck, and chicken, kind of like that thing some people make on Thanksgiving, but it
Mm-hmm.
was a turducken sandwich. When people would bite into it, they couldn't help but want another one. And the more of them they eat, the fatter they got, the slower they got. This takes you back to the parasite T. gondii, which I told you causes Morgellons and brain cancer
Mm-hmm.
because the cat excretes the parasite, the mouse gets the parasite, it goes to the mouse's brain, the mouse becomes attracted to the cat, so the cat don't have to chase the rat. So in this show, they're feeding these people this turducken, which makes them slow, lazy, addicted, sitting on front of their couch, watching the television for entertainment on programs and channeling. And then they basically just take them and drain them and grind them up and put them back in the turducken. Sound
You know,
familiar?
you know what that reminds me of?
Like,
The
uh,
move. Well,
the
yeah,
restaurant with two golden arches and the Capri
that
Suns.
that too, that for sure. But it also reminds me of the movie. They cloned Tyrone,
Yep.
because in that movie they're advertising for that fried chicken place, and for some reason they all decide, oh, I need to go to this fried chicken place, and then when they go there, he Jamie Foxx's character, he's like eating this chicken. He's like, why am I so happy? Like, why do I just need like to keep eating this? And he's just like, wow, I feel so great. And then the other guy is like, stop eating this. There's something in this, this has to
Mhm.
do with whatever. And it's like, yeah, and they're advertising to them in the television program to come and get your whatever mind control poison stuff that makes you feel
Well,
happy.
see that place that has the big, M over the building?
Mm-hmm.
A lot of years I worked in the car industry, which meant I went in early and I got off late. Well, that place was right across the street. It was the easy option. When I went into work, I don't know who here knows, but we'll go ahead and tell. I was the financial controller for a new car franchise. I worked in the car business for 25 years. Anybody out there got questions about buying a used car? I mean, check. Let me save you $1. Anyway, we would eat food from over there a lot. And the longer I worked there, the more I realized that I was actually waking up in the morning craving something from there. I wanted a sausage biscuit every day. It was like an obsession. It was like when I got up and was getting dressed for work, I was not thinking about the 300 things I needed to do today at work. I was trying to make sure my timing and my schedule was right so I could zoom through the drive through. And I all of a sudden I had just got to the point I'm like, oh, I feel horrible. I don't have the energy I used to have. I'm going to eat healthier. Well, started eating healthier, lost 40 pounds, then couldn't find out it was from cancer. I don't know what part that played into it,
Mm-hmm.
but occasionally I find myself actually craving a sausage biscuit from there. And I don't eat from there anymore. Like, I'm just not. Not going to happen because they literally, what's his name? Finkelstein?
Mm-hmm. Finkelstein, Rabbi Finkelstein.
Yeah, he literally come out. If you've never seen that any interview, folks, he comes out and says that they take the children, do what they want to do, use what they want to use, and then they grind them up and put them back in our food.
Yep. And they've
Like
been
that's
doing
not a
this.
downplay. That's the literal.
Yeah, and they have been doing this, they said, for a couple thousand years. It's not like it's anything new under the sun in that regard, unfortunately. And, when you hear of things like mad cow disease and things along those lines, you realize mad cow disease comes from them being force fed themselves in their
Yes.
food. And
Yes.
there is a disease also named kuru that that only happens to people who have consumed human flesh. Most likely, the brain tissue is the most associated with this disease. But you start to see more and more people being absolutely. insane or erratic, crazy, whatever you want to call it, you might want to start thinking and associating what is their diet consist of and how much of these mainstream processed meats are they consuming on a daily basis.
Well, everybody knows I'm a potatarian. I'm just not about the meat anymore because I can't trust it.
Right.
And it's gotten to the point like Willie still eats meat. So and we have an awesome thing when it the whole what do you want to eat thing. Don't ask me what I want to eat. I'm gonna eat potatoes.
Right. See, I went vegan for a long time because of all of that. People who are survivors of SRA or, severe trauma in that department, they tend to go vegetarian and have an aversion to meats,
Mm-hmm.
for a reason. If I'm sure you all can connect the dots on that one. And I did that for a very long time. At this point, I'm not, but I am so extremely picky about the source of where it comes from. I pay a lot of extra money to get decent things that I know are farm fed, like real raised things. But there's another level that had been brought up to me a couple of days ago that I kind of hadn't really thought about. Like I did a little bit, but not extensively. But we know that Billy Goat guy, right? He owns a lot of farmland, especially out here in California. And
Mm-hmm.
it turns out that, you know, the FDA has approved that you do not have to specify if that the meat that you are consuming is cloned.
Yeah.
And for 20 years now, this has already been out. So imagine 20 years of production in that. How much of the meat we have consumed have been the same animal,
Artificial. Yeah.
but just different copies of that animal? So these are things that you have to be very diligent. If you're into, eating meats, which there's nothing wrong with that whatsoever, but you have to do your due diligence to find out where that meat is coming from. You're going to end up paying at least triple the price, and the amount is going to be a lot smaller. But truly, we don't need to eat meat every single day of our lives. That's not something that's a necessity. A couple times a week is plenty sufficient. And, especially in the times that we're coming in right now with the financial difficulties we're going to continue to see, we have to really prioritize what it is that we're putting in our body, and knowing that you're going to end up paying extra for something that's real as opposed to something that's cloned, possibly other species that are related to us, or even printed and manufactured through a printing device. These are the things we have to worry about in what we're consuming.
Well, and I know we talk about I've been looking into some meat companies where it's actually from cattle farmers who are not,
Right.
giving them anything else. You can order like a quarter of a cow or a half and it gives you a list of what comes in it. I'm just waiting to get to the new house so I can get my deep freezer. But meat's not that important to me, but Willie does like, stuff like that. So
Well, even when I was vegan, my family still ate. I mean, my daughter went vegetarian on her own for a while, and both my son and my husband still ate meat, which I ended up making like 3 to 4 different things for every meal. It was very difficult for a while, but
yep.
I was still very obsessive and particular about what was going in their bodies because they're my family and I love them and I don't want them to consume things they shouldn't.
I just plan every meal to have a potato. Normally, normally we're gonna eat whatever, and I'm gonna have potatoes. If y'all would like enough potatoes for everybody else, just let me know. But I'm having potatoes. They will be boiled or baked or fried. And if I
Just
put
make
anything
sure
on
they're
them,
organic.
absolutely. And I only like russet potatoes. I'm a potato-tarian, y'all. I love potatoes. I'm not big on other potatoes. I like russet potatoes. I don't know. I do know that we had chickens for a while here a few years ago over at the farm. And hey Kent, I see you in there. Um we my chickens stopped laying. They weren't laying eggs for a while. And I'm like, what in the world? Because I had went to a chain store and that, sells stuff like that and was buying my
Mhm.
feed from there, which was a national feed supplier. It was cheaper. I was buying it from there. I had lots
Right.
of chickens. It weren't two. And my chickens stopped laying eggs.
Hmm.
A couple of weeks later, when it was time to re up the food, I happened to be in town and there's a farm supply place up there, a little local place, and they actually grind their own stuff and make their own chicken feed and animal feeds. It was amazing. I gave my chickens that feed and they went back to laying. It was
Nice.
shortly thereafter there was a lot of comments in some of the chicken groups I was in that they noticed the same thing. They went to mass produced chicken food and the chicken stopped laying. Now this was about the same time that all of a sudden eggs jumped up to $7 a dozen. And it was just miraculous that eggs production slowed down when I bought mass produced food and the price of eggs went through the roof. Another one of
Hmm.
those makes you wonder, huh?
Hmm.
Uh-huh.
See, though, and that's again what we got to remember with ourselves, right? And what is the ultimate goal with these elites, right? They want to reduce the population. I mean, they even carved it in stone. They only want 500 million or less of us people on this planet. So, there's been a whole push of sterilization across the board in so
Ooh.
many different ways. Did I say something I shouldn't? Did I say that?
No, no, no. My
No.
brain went
Oh.
cha-ching.
Oh,
Go ahead.
yeah. So, thinking about all of the things that get put into our bodies, down to foods, liquids, the air we breathe, it also including pharmaceuticals, vitamins, all of that kind of stuff. The things that are put in there, there's a lot of things designed to ensure that you are not able to procreate. Of course, all
Well,
of this confusion too in genders also plays a part in that. There's so much of this anti ability to procreate on your own. They would rather have, you know, clones that are grown in robots. It's just
well,
like,
my glitch button that you hit was off of something I ran across this morning when I go, ooh, now that's like my reminder. Ooh. But I ran across something this morning. It is a group of ultrasound techs from the
oh,
OBGYN.
I saw this. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, they are now doing ultrasounds of women who had got the sticky pokey thing. Or some of them did. And when they do now, the ultrasound tech has no knowledge of whether the anybody associated with that female has or has not. But one of them started noticing that the actual placenta around the baby in the ultrasound, every single one of them looked different depending upon whether you had taken the sticky pokey, whether you took A, B, or C, and how many of them you have had. And because they are seeing a lot of um, babies that are terminating early, they're not making
Mm-hmm.
it. And like one girl said, done this for years, and she said she's seeing it time after time, and said that these pregnancies are terminating, and the mothers aren't even aware.
What else I thought was interesting that she said was a lot of the mothers said they weren't poked, but
It was the
their
father.
husbands were, but the placenta had carried on what was in the poke.
Well, scientifically, when pregnancy happens, the woman's body provides the amniotic fluid as far as DNA composition. Not saying that the woman's body doesn't make it all, but the majority of the DNA composition in the amniotic fluid is from the woman. The actual placenta in the womb is derived from the male's portion of the DNA contribution, and that's why they're seeing it in the placenta even if the mom didn't have it, because even if the mom didn't take it and she's being intimate with dad, it has shed into her, but he is responsible for the placenta, and that's why it's showing up like that. But they can literally look at a pregnant woman in an ultrasound and tell you if she's had the sticky pokey and which one it was. Isn't that scary?
Hmm. Yep. And again, for those who wonder if it does transfer in those situations, yes, it does.
Well, and when a woman has a child, you carry a certain part of that child's DNA structure the rest of your life in your brain. It's called chimera. It happens every pregnancy, everywhere. It doesn't matter whether the baby makes it to term or not. You are still carrying a part of that child's DNA with you and you with them because they're made from you. Now, when you are intimate with a partner, you will carry that partner for 6 weeks. You will carry physical traces in your genetic structure for about 6 weeks where the other person's genetics are trying to integrate or change yours because it's there. It's just like a foreign invader, so to speak. But yeah, any
Yeah.
contact, yeah.
Well, this is something scripturally speaking that God has tried to warn us for thousands of years. The reason why you don't give yourself to more than one person, why you are, I mean, I know in this day and age, and God knows that this isn't something that everybody has been able to do. We all know about, we all carry sin and blah, 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 blah. I'm not trying to make anybody feel bad for any of the decisions that they've made or whatever situation you're in life right now. But there are reasons God put things into law. I mean, when it comes down to shellfish and pork, those tend to be the beings on earth that carry the most parasites and things along those lines. He was trying to protect us, to give us information. You don't want to consume this or take part in this person's um, genetics, okay, if it's not good for you, if it carries demonic whatever parasites, it's supposed to be there to protect you. And that's why when you are genetically sharing stuff with people, you're taking in spiritual things you don't realize. You're taking in genetic things that stay with you forever. It's a thing.
Well, take that back to that golden M we were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
If you are, if, if we're going to leave that there, they are reusing things when they have discarded it and they're putting it back in the bucket to grind it up to make the other things, there's genetic structure in that. And when you eat that genetic structure, it does the same thing to you as yeah, yeah. It's
Mm-hmm.
genetic uptake.
Exactly. And Genesis in essence is literally all about the manipulation of God's original construct of the genetics. This is why the flood took place. This is why we are in the days of Noah as we speak now, because genetic manipulation, modification is huge within our foods, within the animals, within us, within everything that we are part of in this world at this point. And that's really the ultimate fight, is your genetic makeup, your construct. Is it originally from God, or have you allowed other factions to come in and alter that?
Well, when you're talking about, um, okay, let's say a marriage, a relationship, a boyfriend, girlfriend, whatever. If you've been intimate, and we call it coloring on here, by the way, because a lot of times there are 10-year-olds running around in my house, so we call it coloring. Um, and it keeps us safe from community violations.
Yeah.
But coloring, if you sit down and you color with a person for an extended period of time, um, and you and said person decided to take your crayons and go in different directions. This is why when you go to a therapist or a counselor or whatever afterwards, they're like, oh, you don't need to get involved in another relationship for X amount of days or weeks or months or whatever, because your brain is still seeking the input of that normal genetic uptake of another person. It's almost like a drug that you're addicted to. Your body has become used to that. It's a chemical that it intakes and it gets used to it. And it's part of what drives your brain about that other person. This is why counselors tell you, stay apart a while, give it a minute, let the addiction, the Jonesing, wear off. Now, another study also says that these women out there that have multiple children by multiple fathers, the some of them, the mental instability that some of those mothers exhibit may be related to the fact of multiple genetic partners.
And interesting
Wrestling, I
enough,
like that.
yeah,
Wrestling.
interestingly enough, on that same exact note, the children can possess certain genetic anomalies of other said partners.
Absolutely. Because the mother's still carrying it.
Yep.
Yep.
So, God isn't trying to be, a party pooper, guys. God is trying to protect you, and He's been trying to tell you this since the beginning. I know that flesh gets strong in its desires, but the whole point of these laws and scriptures that God has put out in the beginning is for a reason. It's to protect you, to keep your soul intact so you can be back with God again someday. That's why Jesus came, to fix all of that and to graft us in to the tree.
Well, and I've been lately when I go back to my Bible study, because eventually when I get too far down these rabbit holes, I just shut that and go back to the Bible. And I read
Right.
something there that I haven't read before, I didn't understand, or I want to look at it. One of the anomalies I've been looking at in the Bible that has interested me about how people would go into the desert or whatever, for 30 days or 40 days or 40 nights. And like Jesus, at 30 years old, things happen. And this comes from a conversation that I had with Willie the other night about, you know, when my great grandmother got married, she was married and had her first child at 12 years old. I understand that the mental responsibility of a 12-year-old in 1912 versus today is very different. But still, a 12-year-old had no business being a parent. I don't care if it was 1912 or 2012. A 12-year-old
Mm.
has no business being a parent. I don't think a 25-year-old has business being a parent. I honestly think that I don't think anybody should be required But I think if people waited until they were 30 before, they started having children or what else, the world would be a little more stable, especially financially. Because these kids, Jane, I did it. I was a mother of two before I could even legally take an alcohol drink. My 21st birthday, I had two kids in diapers. Imagine where I could have been in the world if I'd have waited till I was 30 before I'd done that. But the sins of the flesh were more enticing as a 19-year-old than the responsibility of adulthood.
Right.
And that's part of what's wrong.
See, and here's some truth, some information about me personally. I'm not coming on here saying that I have adhered to that. I became born again in 2013, more like 2014, and I had I've had that experience of people. I did not go as far as a lot of people I knew growing up, and I've always felt awful about that. I was fortunate to marry somebody who had never had that experience before, and I've never felt good about it. I've always felt guilty that I wish I could have given him the same thing. But, I have repented of that. I have given that up to God. God has forgiven me for all of those things. So, I'm just saying, I'm not coming on here saying that I am holier than thou and I had adhered to that all my life. And, I still to this day have hurt in my heart that I didn't adhere to God's laws on that. But like I said, God is so amazing and forgiving. He has forgiven me and given me so many blessings with my family that I have now. And knowing that my children are awesome and hopefully not messed up by anyone else that I've ever been with. So I just wanted to throw that out there, guys, that I am not coming out here saying that I'm any better than anybody else. And I've had my own struggles in this department. And so I
Well,
just wanted to be honest.
there's one fantastic saying, Shannon. Every sinner's got a future, and every saint's got a past. And the point in the difference of the two is when you find him and when you ask him to forgive you and to not spend our life regretting our past. You
Right.
just have to be grateful for the wisdom to know that you have changed your future. Because I mean, we've all had, past and past
Right.
lives of things we've done long before we came to where we are now. I did, you did. I'm never gonna hide who I am or what I am. I am me, y'all. I am all out there, loud, proud, and me. And
Amen.
I'm not proud of my past, but I won't be ashamed of it. I mean, I don't think I done anything horrible, but now that I think back on it from this age and this perspective, I surely wish I'd have done a few things different. But if I'd have done anything different, I wouldn't be where I am sitting here right now talking with Shannon and spending my afternoon with you fantastic people.
Amen to that. And, again, I just wanted to say that out loud because I think a lot of the times when, with these content providers out there who are giving, the truth and Jesus and scripture, and we're giving our warnings and things, we tend to sound like we are better than everyone else, or that we know more, or we didn't do that, or we didn't go down the path of unrighteousness in any way. I just wanted to make sure you all realize we are human, and there is a way of forgiveness, and that's through Jesus. Your past, it plays a part in who you are, but it's knowing that you're with God now and you can turn a new leaf and be born again and have a different life.
Well, Shannon, did you see who's in our audience?
Yay! What's up, Daniel?
Daniel's with us, guys. He's listening. Daniel has been taking care of family obligations all weekend and is absolutely exhausted. We all have about a million things going on at the same time with this team. Um, I'm in the middle of moving again. I'm tired of moving, y'all. I'm really tired of moving. I hope this is the last time. We thought this was
Me
going to be
too.
the last time we're renting, and both of these houses should probably be condemned, in my opinion, when we leave. But we're moving to a much better, nicer place and going to save some money and live in a much nicer home. Um,
Yay! Oh, thank you, Rage against the
I see
machine.
that.
Yes, he is.
I see you out there, Rage. Uh,
Well,
uh,
again, I do think it's really great that we all come as we are and we all have these discussions of, you know, the light at the end of the tunnel, and that even though this world is so messed up on so many levels, and we are all going through a lot, guys, as Roxy says, she's moving, Daniel's been going through some stuff, I've had a lot of deaths in my world the last couple of weeks, but we always want to make sure that at least at some point we're here to talk to you guys about all of these important subject matters, and that God is here for us, and we don't have to give our silent consent to anything. All we need to do is ask the Lord Jesus to send the Holy Spirit and discernment, and we can all do this together as one big happy family in Christ.
Absolutely. We are a family, folks, and we enjoy every time you're here with us and every conversation we have with you. And yes, I see your comments, Cash. You and Rage are on it today, buddies. You two are on it. I think we may have to list them as super bands, Shannon.
For real, when are you guys going to be moderators?
Yeah.
Maybe. Maybe we'll give you that.
Shannon and I will be on tomorrow night, Tuesday evening. So Cash and Rage, we expect to see both of you there at minimum tomorrow night at 7:30 Eastern. We may go a little deeper down this rabbit hole. Then Wednesday will be Daniel after lunch on Logic Before Authority. Thursday will be Shannon and I again. Thursday night on Shannon's children, Shannon's channel, Children of the Most High. Now, the new thing we have, and Friday is all of us back together on our Friday, uh, group thing. I don't know what we're gonna call that yet, guys. We're gonna call it something on Friday. But we are broadcasting on all channels. We know you're a flirt, Rage. We are well aware, buddy. We're well aware. You make me smile, though. You do. You make me and Shannon smile. You and Cash.
Yeah,
We
nothing
love
but
you
love.
guys. Nothing but love, yeah. But when we broadcast now, we're broadcasting on many channels: Logic, the Supernatural Show, Children of the Most High, the Roxy Files, and more channels that will be added soon. We're going to let Daniel tell you about all of that. But all the channels are kind of broadcasting at all times. So normally when any of us go live, you should be able to um yeah, Shannon, we didn't think about that. That's a super mic category in Super Dave.
Oh, yeah.
They're in charge of
They're the
moderation.
moderator pickers.
So anybody that wants to be a moderator, you gonna have to go through the boys. That's
Yeah,
secret service right there.
they're
Super Dave and Super Mike. That is our secret
secret
service.
service.
Yeah, Rage is very
Yeah.
honest about it, Daniel. Him and Cash show no bones about the fact that they're big flirts. But
Oh, that's
anyway,
funny.
guys, we are on 5 days a week now.
Yeah.
And we are probably going to be at a point where we're going to be offering you multiple shows 5 days a week. We have all got to the point where we're turning off the TV, we're not watching the movies, and we're not listening to the music because we know every single thing they do in that is dishonest and it's programming and it's set up to alter you.
Right.
So if we put out enough good content that you have something to watch every day, and all of us like to zone out in the evening when we take a break and we relax. So we hope to, on the Supernatural Network, give you enough in a week to at least keep your mind stimulated, your faith and community and love of family with us together. But we're gonna get there, guys. We're gonna have multiple shows a day before this is over with.
And hey, I know that a lot of you guys have come to, know Roxy and me and things through Logic Before Authority and the Supernatural show, which is so awesome. I'm glad that you guys tune in to our shows through those channels. But if you guys would just please be so kind to individually subscribe to all of our channels and take the time, if we are maybe doing Roxy's show on Tuesday, to actually try to view on her channel, or if it is my channel on Thursdays, that you try to view through my channel. I mean, no major pressure. It just helps because, of course, like, I'm the newest out of everybody who got a channel going because I'm special. We all know that. But my count is a little sad, and I know you guys are all still watching. Just maybe give our channels a little love on
Right, because
occasion.
if you don't have a channel and you don't know this, Shannon and I, we don't make squadoosh off of this because we don't have enough subscribers yet to be monetized. Not that the YouTube money is amazing by any means, but that little bit we do get actually helps pay for our broadcast software and stuff like that. Just the general small
Yeah.
expenses we have in this. You don't get to get any of that money until you have 500 subscribers. So at least go out and subscribe to Shannon's channel and my channel if you haven't. It's Children of the Most High for Shannon. Mine is the Roxy Files, and I think my neighbor has just cranked up a dirt bike, so you're probably all hearing that at the moment. But but remember, go and subscribe to all the channels. Um, for right now, we're kind of broadcasting, on multiple channels at once, so we don't miss anybody. Look at there. I told you, Secret Services own it. The links are in the chat, folks. Look at there. Look at Mike. Telling you that
Yeah.
man is a machine. Mike, we love you so much. You
Yes,
and
we
Dave.
do.
These guys are great. But there's Shannon's link. Go subscribe to her channel because the other, and there's mine. Go ahead with your bad self, Mike.
Yeah.
The it's going to be broadcasting on almost all of the channels, but try to go and actually view it on some of the other channels. If you're part of our regulars group that travels around with us, even if it's a show that's not Shannon's, but it's shown on her channel, go watch it on her channel. Just kind of jump around, check it out.
Yeah.
Now, on the YouTube channels, each person's individual. There are communities on there where there are chat boards. We can talk. You can leave us messages. Thank you, Anonymous Legion. You can go to the website. It's thesupernatural.show. Daniel is all the time putting up stuff over there. Coming the month of December, we're going to have all kind of giveaways. Shannon's got some. I've got some. I don't know if the other channels are doing some. Not. It's just going to be. I think Shannon and I are going to derive ours off of all of our new subscribers up to that point. We're
Right.
going to draw for some prizes. So, just some little gifts. You can keep them or re-gift them for Christmas. But mine are going to be coffee cups. What are you got, Shannon?
I have some amazing books that I'm going to be purchasing from our friend Jesus Freak Computer Geek, David. He wrote this amazing book called The Incoming Flood of the AI, The Rise of the Nephilim. And it is absolutely full of priceless information. There's illustrations. Everything is super easy to read and easy to understand, and it is all scripturally backed. And then I will also at some point be giving out some more Ethiopian Bibles throughout the new coming year.
And if you, and there may be more things that go along with the package. All right, guys, y'all got to calm down over there. Listen here, Rage. You got to calm that down, buddy. You can't just keep, throwing it out there. You and
Well,
Kent.
you know, when you do that voice, it's not helping, and I'm now doing it.
I
So,
tried I tried to stay off the microphone and speaking so softly.
oh my goodness.
We're horrible. See, this is what happens on a Tuesday night show, and this is why Daniel
Yeah.
does not join us because the giggles drive him crazy.
Speaking of Daniel, just one quick thing. I just wanted to say thank you, Daniel. I know you're listening. I am so grateful that God brought us all together and that you asked me to come and be a part of this supernatural show that has grown into this amazing network that I just, oh my gosh, I'm going to cry.
It's all
Yeah,
inspiring.
that is just so much more beyond anything I could have ever imagined. And I'm sure you feel the same. But
Yes,
I just want to say thank you, Daniel, for bringing us all together in the name of Jesus and all of the information that you have provided everyone for so long. You are one of the most tenacious people out here on this platform, and I just want to say that I appreciate you and everything you have done for all of us.
absolutely. I had no idea the beginning of 2025 that the Roxy Files was anywhere on my bingo card.
Right.
That was not a bingo card I even had, guys. Like, Daniel's my uncle. He's like my big brother. We're not that far apart. He was the baby. I was the oldest. So he's like my big brother. I'm still mad from where he moved away when I was 13. I mean, if that tells you how far that goes back. But we reconnected after my divorce and got closer and closer. And I just started here at the beginning of the year to start out helping with like answering emails and doing administrative stuff. And well, here we are, me and Shannon on a Monday
Yeah.
over here with the rage and the Kent and the cash.
Oh, well, we appreciate all of you guys for putting up with all of us in one way
Eventually,
or
we
another.
see you. We do. Shannon and I tend to have fun at the end of the show. That's our normal. But we will be back on tomorrow night at 7:30. We'll probably go a little deeper in this Lincoln Park Leto kind of conversation if that's where it leads us. It may lead us in a whole different directions, but come and talk with us. One of the reasons we run chat on the screen the whole time is so if somebody comes back and watches it later, they don't think we're talking to our imaginary friends named Rage and Kent and Cash, that they are real people and we're not just hallucinating. I mean, they call us crazy already. We don't want to give them any more reasons.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm used to being
Yeah,
called
I'm used to
crazy. I
crazy.
kind
I
of don't
actually take it
mind.
as yeah, I take it as a badge of honor now. If a normie calls me crazy, I'll be like, "Thank you, thank you very much. Have a good day. May you have the day you deserve." And that's where I leave it.
May you have the day you deserve. Right
That's what I
there.
tell
That's
everybody
it.
because you set your own day that you deserve. I don't have to wish any good or bad on you. I don't know you. You could be a horrible human being. You're a stranger. May you have the day you deserve. So if
Oh,
you
that's
deserve
so
a good
good.
one, I hope you get it. If you deserve a really crappy one that your car won't crank when you leave the store, I hope it comes for you, but it's not my business.
I love that so
Okay?
much.
I will
I'm
send
using that.
Shannon. All right, it's new merch going up in the store. I actually
Yeah.
already have a shirt that says that I made. So for myself, I love it. It's big right across the back in these big bright letters. May you have the day you deserve. It'll be new merch in our store. So
Oh
I'll
my
get on that.
gosh.
I'll put it on the list. But
I
we're gonna
need the
let you
new
go,
mug.
guys. I got mugs, girl. I got mugs.
I need the new mug. It's awesome.
Which mug do you want? Do you want the Roxy Files or you want the one with me and you on it?
I want both.
You want both? I'll have to look
But
in
I'm gonna
inventory.
pay for them, okay? So don't trip. I got it. I'll pay for it.
Don't trip. I got it. Okay. All right, guys. We're gonna let you go. We've had enough giggles. We've had enough fun. We hope you all had a good time. That you learned something. We love you, and we'll see you tomorrow night at 7:30.
All glory to Jesus.
Love you guys. Have a good evening.